Welcome to Right on Track, a songwriting podcast. Thanks to Tone for tuning in. I'm Demi Michelle Schwartz, and I'm thrilled you're joining me on my songwriting journey. So kick back and relax, don't fall flat, and remember, stay right on track. Hello everyone, welcome back to Right on Track. I am so excited because joining me today is a dear friend of mine, Cody Murphy. Hey Cody.
Hey Demi, how are you?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you again for inviting me on today. Thank you for this.
Of course, I'm so excited. It's great to have you, especially because you've supported me so much over the past year, and being on your podcast has been such an honor every single time. So I thought I would return the favor and invite you on. So I'm super excited to have you here.
Absolutely. It's it's not very often I get to do a podcast like this these days, so it's always a treat for me.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. So I'm so excited you're joining me today because we're going to be talking all about country music. But before we do this, can you share with the listeners a little bit about your journey so far in the industry?
Oh, absolutely. As you alluded to earlier, I started a podcast back almost 10 years ago now, which is still totally hard to believe that it's been that long. But and we initially didn't start out in country music, surprisingly. Uh, I'll skip over that for the sake of the podcast. I'll skip over that, but uh, I actually started covering this industry back in 2014, and it was a really weird story about how all that happened. I actually I woke up one morning and I checked social media like I always do, and uh, like I'm sure 99% of us do every morning, but um, and 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 I noticed I had several independent country music artists following me on Twitter, S- and and I've always been a huge music fan, uh, ever since I could virtually talk. So I'm thinking this is pretty cool. Uh, a- and by that point in the podcast, we kind of started shifting away from what we originally covered, sort of making the transition to music. But I said, you know what? I'll reach out to uh, some of these people and see if if we can have them on. And I did, and that kind of started our full time coverage of the industry.
That's fantastic. Oh, I love that story. And you do such an incredible job with Weekdays with Murph. So, congratulations on all you've done with that so far.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, and and like I said earlier, I cannot believe I've been at this 10 years. I can't believe that.
I know, it's crazy. It's so crazy. And I was so honored to be part of your little 10-year celebration. But that was fantastic. So, congratulations again. And I'm so excited we're going to be talking all about country music. So, to kick this conversation off, can you read a fantastic quote by the lovely Faith Hill?
Oh, absolutely. Country music is the people's music. It just speaks about real life and about truth, and it tells things how they really are.
I love this. What does this quote mean to you?
It is a 1000% the truth. I mean, country music, lyrically speaking, is about family values and just simple living. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like for me, this quote resonates so much because I started to gravitate toward country music for the exact reason that it's about the truth and real stories. Because when I started in the industry and grew up listening to pop music a lot, there's not a whole lot of the storytelling in there. And it's more about the melody and the vibe and not necessarily the lyrics and the story. And once I started songwriting, I started gravitating toward country because of the way it tells the truth and really tells stories how they are. And I just absolutely love the genre. Faith Hill put it perfectly. And it is for the people. This is the music that speaks about all of our lives in such a beautiful way. And so I'm super blessed to be able to create country music.
Absolutely. And when people say country music is three chords in the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely true.
It is. Completely. Absolutely the truth. So, what made you get into country music?
Oh gosh, how much time you got? uh, Seriously though, um, like I said earlier, I've been to music literally since I could talk. I mean, we're talking over 30 years here. So, and I remember the very first, uh, my very first taste of country music was George Strait's debut album. I bet I wore that cassette tape out. I mean, I played it constantly, and and it just snowballed from there. George Strait led me to Alabama. Alabama led me to Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks led me to just it just snowballed from there. You know.
That's incredible. Yeah, I think for me, I kind of wasn't really open to listening to country for a really long time. But I had some friends and my brother in law constantly sending me new country songs and saying, listen to this, listen to this. And I was like, I'm good with my pop music, I'm good. But when my friend Abby sent me Homecoming Queen by Kelsey Ballerini and it made me cry, that's when I realized, oh wait, maybe I should listen to country more. And so for me, it was Kelsey Ballerini who started it all for me, and then Maren Morris, Carly Pierce, Old Taylor. So all of it from there kind of snowballed as well for me. But I love how for us it was kind of a first song or first album. Like for you, it was George Strait. For me, Kelsey Ballerini. And I think it's awesome and beautiful how we have that first encounter with the genre that really resonated with us and then made us want to continue to explore the genre more.
Oh, absolutely, 1,000%. And and I'm gonna be honest. And I know the the country music purists will come for me for this. I don't care. Uh, I love the genre blending of today's country music. I absolutely love it.
Me too, so much. So, in terms of how the genre is changing, how are you finding that? Because traditional country music is still happening, but we have these new genres, these more pop country and modern country and other crossovers. And there's some people in the industry who aren't really embracing that, but I know you definitely are, and I am because of the style of music I create. So, what are your thoughts on the shift of the genre?
Like I said earlier, I mean, I absolutely love the shift. And there's a quote from I believe it's Vince Gill. It's a long quote, so I'm just gonna kind of paraphrase. He goes, I probably wasn't Jimmy Rogers' cup of tea, and Jimmy Rogers probably wasn't Hank Singer's cup of tea, but I just love seeing kids nowadays do what they're passionate about, and they have no bigger cheerleader than me.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's all about passion and what feels right. And there are going to be people in the industry, especially, who don't really embrace the new styles of country. But at the end of the day, I think that everybody needs to recognize that new artists are coming up. Everybody has their story to tell. And the way that genres are blending nowadays and how that's becoming more common, I think, it's giving something beautiful to the genre because new artists are coming up with different approaches to the style of country and delivering their stories in a way that feels right to them. Like, I can't really see myself releasing a song in the style of, say, Blake Shelton, but I'm very like Kelsey Ballerini and Maren Morris in that area with the pop country. And so I feel like artists need to find what feels right to them and then put that out into the world.
Another thing is it pulls in new fans to the genre. I mean, pop fans, sometimes R&B fans. It pulls them into the genre.
Oh yeah, 100%. The whole crossover there is so important. I think Mara Morris is a great one who is illustrating that. Casey Musgraves as well, because I feel like the way the genres are blending, it's bringing other genre fans into the country community, and I think that's awesome. But speaking of the country community, I personally have never felt more at home because of how family like the country music community is. So, what are your thoughts about the country music community?
Again, how much time do you have? Uh, I've been fortunate enough. through the podcast to be invited to um, uh, multiple industry events, a couple industry award shows, and the country music community. The people are just some of the warmest, kindest people I have literally ever met in my entire life.
I completely agree. I definitely saw the love from the country music community right away. And when I released LA Will Wait For Me, to be honest, I was super nervous to release that song because after putting out two pop ballads, I didn't really think the country music community would, embrace me and listen to the song because I started out doing pop music. And so I had like a major insecurity surrounding that whole thing. But after I released that song and got the most support ever that I've ever gotten in music yet, that just completely blew my mind. And it's not only like the artists, like everybody, the songwriters, the artists, the people in radio, blogs, podcasting, no matter who it is. It's just, I feel like everybody is there for the music in country music, and there's no space for drama and competition or negativity or anything like that. I feel like everybody's there to appreciate the music and lift everybody up, and it's just the most beautiful thing I've ever witnessed.
Oh, I agree 1,000%. I mean, and uh, and like you said about radio people, I know a few major radio guys, and like the artists, they are some of the absolute coolest people I've ever met.
I agree, and I love how, like, in country music, everybody creates a space for everybody else. Like, the artists and the radio presenters and the bloggers, it's like, I was on your podcast, now you're on mine. I have friends in the industry that I've co-written with and, met through retreats and those kind of things, and they listen to my music, I listen to theirs. It's like everybody's here to support each other, and I think, a beautiful thing that I witnessed I'll never ever forget was I was just in Nashville in November and I went to the CMA Awards. And witnessing that in person, it was the most beautiful thing. Like, even seeing mainstream artists get up on that stage and perform and accept awards, everybody was supporting everybody else. And it was the coolest thing. And I definitely feel like I'm in the right place with country music.
I'm jealous of you now going to the CMA Awards. I'm jealous of you now. I know, but seriously, I mean, yeah, and I tend to go to Nashville pretty much every chance I possibly get. You know, I don't live that far from Nashville, and and every time I go, it's just I learn or I see something new every single time.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that was one of my favorite parts about going to Nashville for the first time, other than the retreat I went to and the awards, was I got to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame and do the Studio B tour and go to the Opry and the Ryman. And I feel like all those places, there's so much history in country music that I didn't really fully recognize until I was there. Just seeing the tour guides talk so passionately about all of it and meeting other country music fans there to hear about the history and immerse yourself in that was so beautiful too. Because I feel like country music is a place that really respects the history and builds off of it. And I think it was super cool to kind of experience all of that in Nashville.
I've got a story for you about the Opry real quick. Uh,
Yes.
I I went to the Opry a couple of years ago on my birthday, uh,
Perfect.
courtesy of an artist friend of mine that was playing that night. He got me tickets and and, and backstage passes, so I kind of hung out backstage where all the artists are in the artist lounge. I kind of hung out back there a little bit, and literally every single person at the Opry could not have been kinder. Uh, Everywhere I went, they were like, "Happy birthday, Cody! Are you having a good time?" I seriously felt like a celebrity.
That's great. Oh, that's so nice. That just goes to show, like, everybody is so sweet. And story about the Opry here too. When I was there, I did the whole tour thing, and I got to stand in the circle and get a picture taken, and that was like the coolest thing because playing at the Opry is my dream venue to play at, and so getting to stand on the stage in the circle was like super special.
Absolutely, and and we'll see you on that upper stage someday. I guarantee you.
Oh, thank you. So now I want to talk more about your wonderful podcast, Weekdays with Murph. So can you share your favorite memory or favorite experience from hosting this podcast so far?
Oh gosh, uh, my favorite experience. Well, it didn't directly come on the podcast. It it came because of the podcast, if that makes any sense. Uh, I got to uh, 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 co-host an award show with a good buddy of mine about 3 years ago.
That's so awesome. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'd known this guy for maybe a year or two prior to that. Uh, we met at another award show, coincidentally enough. Uh, so I reached out to him, said, hey dude, it was great meeting you at the Nashville Universe Awards. Uh, and he's like, yeah, dude, you too. So we kind of struck up a friendship that way. And uh, he's another radio guy. So about a year or so later, well, I know it was probably about 6 months after that, he hits me up with this idea. He goes, "How about we host a independent award show together in Nashville?" I'm like, "Sounds good to me." So so we did, and and it went so great. I mean, literally everybody after the show was coming up to us and telling us how well we played off each other. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever had had a hand in. You know,
That's so cool. Literally, it'd be so cool to host an award show. But the fact that that came out of, your podcast and then meeting a friend and then deciding, hey, let's do this independent award show in Nashville is so cool. And that just goes back to the whole community aspect. Like, without the love and support and incredible community that country music is, that probably wouldn't have happened, but it did because of how incredible the country music community is.
absolutely. And and I've got so many more stories like that of 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 things that happen on the podcast. Uh, I've literally nearly cried multiple times on this podcast. So
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited that, you're continuing to do it and you're keeping your momentum and going forward because I love tuning in and all the artists you have on are so sweet and have great stories to tell. And I think, a big thing about country music is the stories, as we touched on a little bit at the beginning of the podcast with, Faith Hill. But I feel like country music gives the artists and songwriters the space to really share their stories because let's face it, country music is all about the stories and the lyrics. And so the fact that country allows the songwriters and artists to be on podcasts and do interviews and all those things to share the stories behind creating those songs is truly incredible.
absolutely, and I'm one of those hosts who there's a line in one of my favorite songs that goes, "When you get where you're going, don't forget to turn back around and help the next one in line." Uh, Now I've been in this business 10 years almost, and I could very easily feel threatened at brand new shows popping up almost daily, but I don't, and I never will because I feel like since I've been in this business this long, it, it's time for me to turn around and help the new podcasters in the game.
Oh, that's such a beautiful perspective. But keep doing your show because we all love it.
Oh, the show's not going anywhere. I can promise you that the show's not going anywhere.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I have another question for you. There are a lot of
Yeah,
people out there who don't listen to country music and aren't open to listening to country music. Younger me, for example. So, what is something that you would tell them to convince them to just give country music a chance?
Just just like you said, give it a chance. I mean, I'm one of those people that I'll listen to literally anything once. I don't care what it is. Rock, pop, country, R&B, I don't care. Uh I feel like having a appreciation for all genres of music makes you a more rounded person.
100%. Absolutely perfect. I completely agree. And from a songwriter point of view and an artist point of view, it's so important to be open to other genres because, that gives you more opportunities for collaboration and just all around, like you said, be a more rounded person and be a more appreciative person of the music industry as a whole. And I mean, this isn't even ironic that the fact that I started listening to country music was when I started to pursue songwriting because I realized that I needed to be more open to other genres. And then when I gave country a chance, here I am now writing country music. And I think, for me, the whole thing that drew me into country was the lyrics. And I think for anybody who is a little hesitant to country, just strip away the music and just look up the lyrics. Just read the lyrics, and you will connect to these songs, I think, more than any other genre. Like, I cannot think of a pop song that I connect to more than country songs because the lyrics are just so true and real.
Oh, I agree 100%. If you sit down and just study uh, the lyrics of a country song, uh, there are literally so many lessons in country songs that it's not even funny.
It's so relatable too. Like, I feel like these songs speak to me more than any other genre does, and that goes back to the story and the truth because these artists and songwriters aren't, sugarcoating things or sharing something that's not necessarily real and authentic because it's so true. All of it is so real. And I think it's so universal as well. Even though the stories are so vivid, a lot of, concrete imagery and beautiful language, it's at the root of that is something that everybody can relate to because it's rooted in the human condition and things we all experience. And I think that's something about country music that is one of my favorite qualities about it.
Absolutely, 1,000% agree to that.
So we touched on this a little bit before about how the genre is shifting and evolving. How do you think this shift continuing will impact the country music industry in the future?
I think honestly, it'll continue to grow because because as we said before, um, it'll bring in outside fans from the pop world, from the R&B world, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it'll keep thriving. I think.
I love that. I completely agree. And this next question I have for you is a little deeper, but I always, try to be as real as possible on this show because I think it's important to spread awareness about things. And something I want your opinion on is I have been seeing a lot of stats. We're recording this in December for everybody listening. I've been seeing a lot of stats about, top songs on radio and all those things. And there's still a great lack of representation of female artists. And so, what's your thoughts on how the country music radio and main, websites and all those kind of things are still not necessarily giving equal representation?
As you know, in my podcast, I'm a big supporter of the women in this industry. I am such a champion for you guys, uh, and I think that as I said earlier, just give them a chance and just listen to what they're saying because because what the females of this industry these days like Maren Morris, like the Mickey Gattens of the world, like uh, people like that. What they're saying is very important.
Well, I just want to let you know that we appreciate you so much for giving, the female artists and country music a voice. I just really wish that the more mainstream radio would. And also, I think, to wrap down on here, I think talking about the independent artists for a second is important as well because I think independent country artists are taking risks and doing things that are so unique and impactful to the genre. And I love how there are so many independent radio stations and blogs and things that support the music of independent artists. But what are your thoughts on, looking ahead to the future and, hoping for the more bigger outlets to support independent country music?
Just take a look at the indies. Uh, for example, like you guys, you are the next Faith Hills. You are the next Carly Pierces of the world. Those people had to be independent at one point to get to where they are now. So just keep plugging along. You know.
Oh, love that. Perfect, perfect. Yes, I love that perspective. It's so easy, I think, to get caught up in looking at mainstream artists and thinking, oh, wow, I wish I had that. But then, like you said, you really have to take a step back and realize that they weren't always there. They had to take their own journey. They had to go through so much, blood, sweat, and tears to get to where they are now. They had to be independent first and get somebody to believe in them and all that. And so I think, your advice of just keep going and keep writing, keep releasing music is fantastic. So before you go, Cody, can you share final thoughts on country music in general?
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love this industry with literally every fiber of my being. It's just it it's just not even funny. And I love covering this industry. I love literally everything about this industry. Uh, even when uh, things aren't going exactly well in the industry, I still love it and I still believe in it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh, it's such an honor having you on the show. Where can you share with everyone where they can find you online and listen to Weekdays with Murph?
Oh, absolutely. You guys can follow me on Twitter. It's at Weekdays with Murph, and it's WKDYS. There's no vowels in the first word. Uh, Stupid Twitter limits. Anyway, and and you can follow me on Instagram. It's Weekdays with Murph, and the show is blogtalkradio.com/Weekdays with Murph.
Fabulous. Cody, thank you so much for joining me. This has been fantastic.
Absolutely, and if there's ever anything that I can do for you, or if you ever want to uh, uh do this again or come back on my podcast, you know where to find me.
Awesome. You as well. Thank you so much again. You're the sweetest ever. I'm so happy we got to connect this year because you've become such a great friend. So I loved having you on the show. Listeners, thank you so much for listening to this episode all about country music with Cody Murphy. And of course, until next time,
Stay
stay
right
right
on
on
track.
track.